Hi! I printed a photo on a breeze block wall that I made for my GCSE, mock GCSE, so years and years ago now. So I went to my local build centre and asked if they would sponsor me, so basically give me some breeze blocks, which they did. They were so kind. And then I sanded the really textured part of the breeze block um, down because there were like big deep grooves. So I sanded it down to sort of below the grooves so you had a smoother surface. That in itself took hours. I remember on my mum and dad's patio with all these breeze blocks, and their sanding machine, like sanding each and every breeze block, took ages. There was dust everywhere. Anyway, then I got some emulsion paint and just painted over the breeze blocks so that they went from a grey to a white, because I like the hard contrast in a photo. So back in those days, we did everything on film and in the darkroom. So so this is printing in the darkroom that I'm talking about, by the way. So then I had to get the breeze blocks to stand up one on top of the other. So what I did was I drilled some holes in the tops and the bottoms, and then I got my dad's cane sticks that he'd used for his gardening, and I cut them up. And oh no, it wasn't cane sticks. It was something similar, but it was thicker wood, so it was stronger. And I cut those up to make like little dowels, and then I put them in the holes, and then I slotted the wall. So I basically made this wall, and then I took that to school. Nuts. And shall I just show you? Might be easier than describing it. And here's me in the newspaper. So when I was printing this, I got to the top and I had to add another breeze block on the top in a bit of a funny place because it wasn't quite right. But it was such an achievement and such an amazing experience doing this. So basically, you can buy the light sensitive emulsion that is on the surface of a photograph. You can essentially buy that in a liquid. Well, it's kind of like a weird jelly state when you buy it. It's called Liquid Light, and I got mine from Silverprint in London, I believe. Anyway, you send off for it. It's obviously in a little black pot. It's light sensitive, so you can't open it in white light or anything. And then what you have to do is you melt it down. So I used to try and dig a bit out because I didn't want to melt the whole of the pot and then let it go hard and then keep melting it every time I used it, because I felt like that would wear the emulsion out. So I used to try and get as much out as I could, like digging it out of this little pot, and then melt it down. So then once you're in the darkroom under the red light and you've got your negative in the enlarger, then you paint over your blocks. I'm talking like you're going to do it. That's what I did. So then I painted over the white emulsioned breeze block that I had with the Liquid Light, dried it with a hairdryer, and then exposed the block underneath the enlarger. But because it was such a big area, such a big image, I had to turn the enlarger around and like project it down onto the floor. And then it was like a puzzle. So I had to actually make the puzzle of the wall on the floor in the darkroom, and then take each one out, expose it underneath the light, obviously, for that area, develop that block in the developing tray, mental, and then rinse it and then fix it. And then it has to be, it has to go through the rinsing again for 15 or 20 minutes to get all the fixative off. But I had to keep it all as like this puzzle on the floor, because obviously I didn't want to lose where I was, so it wouldn't match up with the next bit. Do you see what I mean? So it was quite a intricate process, and I had to get this stuff called hardener
to put in the fix. I think it went in the fix, to like keep the image from sliding off, because I'd done a lot of this. I'll show you in another video, but my first ever print on anything other than photographic paper in the darkroom was onto sandpaper, which was amazing. I did a photo of Lake Abbey. I won't tell you about it now, but some of the surfaces were really slidey. So I tried to print on a CD. So I varnished the CD and I put it in the developer. But when I lifted it out, and it looked perfect, it came out absolutely perfect. But when I lifted it out of the developer, the image just slid off of the CD and went into the tray and just disappeared. It was gutting. It happened so many times on anything like vaguely slippery, like glass, mirror. I tried all sorts. I even printed a picture on my hand once. I painted this liquid light on my hand, exposed my hand, developed my hand, fixed my hand. I remember like standing there rinsing it underneath the water for ages in the darkroom, and then when I had this little picture of like a little place printed on my hand, and I remember I went round the lunch hall saying to all my friends, look, I printed a photo on my hand. And another time I wanted to print some night photography of the cars onto something crazy, and I was just always trying to get the next better thing to print on. But I remember finding this derelict car, and I wanted to get the car door off to print a photo on the car door of this night photography. So it was like printing a picture of cars on a car door. I thought it'd be really cool. So I remember saying to my mates, I was, about 15, and we used to go for walks in the evening, and we had this little den, and I said, oh guys, can you help me get this car door off? The car was like totally like smashed up and stuff anyway, so it was fine. But I remember them just like jumping up and down on this car door until it came off. And then I went to school the next day with this car door hanging over my shoulder, absolutely nuts. And everyone was like, what the hell? And I walked into the photography room, and my photography teacher was just like, okay, Claire, carry on. She's so used to me doing all these crazy things. But yeah, printing that photo on that wall was amazing. And it was just the next level of photography for me in those days, because I felt like I'd exhausted everything creative that I could do on paper. And I remember having people coming up to me in this town for years after I'd done it, saying, oh, you're the girl who printed a photo on that wall, aren't you? And actually, I bought a house, my first house, in my early 20s. And I remember finding the brick wall in mum and dad's garden, I think it was, and the photo was still on there. Like, this was a good 8 years after I left school, maybe, and this photo is still on there. And I got the photo out. I got the wall out, and I built the wall up against the wall of the house that I bought, and I nailed it to the wall of the house. So you had this like great big black and white printed breeze block, crazy random wall, like attached to my house. And I used to, like, people walking to school and stuff used to just stand out and look and point, and I could just see them out the window. And then it faded in the sun. I mean, it was there for quite a while before it faded. Incredible, like absolutely incredible amount of time that photo stayed on that wall. It's unbelievable. But when it disappeared, so then I'm just left with this like random wall stuck to my wall, and I'm thinking, okay, this looks a bit silly now, but I could still see the outline, the faint outline. So I got my chalk and charcoal and paint out, and I painted over it. I don't know if I've got any photos of that, but I'll have a look, and I'll try and add it in there. So yeah, so then I painted it and like fixed it, so the painting of this photo stayed there for a few years after that even, and it lasted, again, out in the sun, it lasted years and years and years. So yeah, really good fun. Just thought I would share that with you. Any darkroom technique advice, if anybody would like any, yeah, I might be able to help. Okay, have a good day. Bye.